She didn't march, she didn't shout, she didn't block roads. She simply hugged a tree. And days later, the President of the Republic of Kenya asked to meet her. In a nation of more than 50 million people, why did one young woman's silent action travel all the way to State House? This is not a protest story. This is not a publicity story. This is a papa story. This is the story of Truphena Muthoni. Truphena Muthoni represents a generation that grew up watching the world change. Rains no longer come when expected. Rivers shrink. Forests disappear quietly. For many young people, climate change is discussed in conferences. For Truphena, it was personal.
To tell people to go back to nature for healing, and especially people, because we have mental health crisis across the world that is directly connected to environmental degradation, like wildfires. Even here in Kenya we have wildfires, and floods and droughts, and victims have post-traumatic stress disorder. The other thing is to help people to fall in love with nature, because I believe that conservation begins with love, and that before we plant 1,000,000 trees, we must nurture 1,000,000 hearts that care.
She understood one simple truth: when nature suffers, humanity follows. And while many waited for leaders, organizations, or governments to act, Truphena made a decision that will define her life. She chose to act alone if necessary. She selected an indigenous tree, a living symbol of heritage, resilience, and survival. For 72 continuous hours, she embraced it. Day turned into night, night turned into day. Pain came, fatigue came, doubt came, but she stayed. No shelter, no comfort, no applause, just commitment. Her arms wrapped around the tree, but her message wrapped around the conscience of a nation. Protect what protects us. Save what sustains us. In her silence, Kenya had something loud.
I've said something also very profound. We have a real serious problem of mental health.
Yes.
You know, and therefore, whatever it is that we can do, whatever contributions that we can make to assist with, you know, supporting the people who would otherwise suffer from mental health, just maybe by associating with nature, you know, and, you know, people cooling down.
What began as a solitary act soon became a national conversation. Social media took notice, environmentalists paid attention, young people were inspired. Because leadership does not always wear a title. Sometimes leadership wears courage. Truphina's action reminded Kenya that climate action is not optional, it is urgent. And that urgency reached the highest office in the land.
I can't believe this. This is profound.
Thank you.
Yeah? I am sure that it's going to have a big impact.
Yes.
That people will think about trees much more positively.
Sure.
And cutting down a tree, you have to really think.
Sure.
On a historic day, Truphena Muthoni walks through the gates of State House, Kenya. Not as a politician, not as a celebrity, but as a citizen whose conscience moved a nation. She meets President William Ruto, a moment that symbolizes something greater than protocol. It is a meeting between leadership and purpose. The president acknowledges her courage, her discipline, and her message. And then comes a powerful announcement. In recognition of her extraordinary dedication, Truphena Muthoni is appointed an ambassador of the 15 billion tree planting campaign. From hugging one tree to helping plant billions. This campaign is not just about numbers. It is about securing Kenya's environmental future. And Truphena becomes a symbol of youth leadership in environmental stewardship. Proof that age does not limit impact. Purpose, when genuine, is never ignored. The Kenya Wildlife Service and the Kenya Tourism Board extend a fully sponsored holiday to Truphena and her team. A moment to breathe, to reflect, to restore strength. But even bigger doors open. The Ministry of Environment, Climate Change and Forestry commits to supporting her dreams to visit Brazil, home to the Amazon rainforest. From Kenya's indigenous trees to global conservation leadership, her story crosses borders. Wow! Then comes the highest moment of recognition for exemplary service to environmental stewardship, for courage, fortitude, and leadership. The President confers upon Truphena Muthoni the Head of State Commendation, HSC Medal. Wow! This medal does not celebrate fame. It celebrates values. It tells every young Kenyan, your voice matters. Your action matters. Your courage matters. Truphena's journey teaches us powerful lessons. You do not need money to make impact. You do not need influence to create change. You do not need permission to care. Environmental conservation is not a government duty alone. It is a citizen responsibility. You do not need money to make impact. You do not need influence to create change. You do not need permission to care. Environmental conservation is not a government duty alone. It is a citizen responsibility. Climate change is not tomorrow's problem. It is today's call. From a silent embrace to a national embrace. From one young woman's courage to a country reminded of its duty. Truphena Muthoni did not hug a tree for attention. She hugged it for generations unborn. And today, Kenya honors her not just with medals, but with trust. This is not the end of her story. It is the beginning of a greener Kenya. Wow. I am Director Jao, and this is a story of courage, purpose, and hope. Kindly don't forget to like and put on your subscription down there. And like I always tell you, that whoever has a brain, sense will forever be expected.